Do I need to push this one?
No.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. It is 5:30 on May 9th. Would like to call the City of Clovis's largest tax meeting to order. We will start with roll call. Will the clerk please call roll?
Freddie Bryant,
Here.
Gail Tarson,
Here.
Thomas Martin,
Here.
Tasha Padilla, Stephen Rodriguez.
Here.
And Commissioner Garza.
Here.
Thank you. First thing we'll do, approval from minutes from our last meeting, which was March 14th. Are there any corrections to the meeting notes?
I did not see any and move to approve.
First motion by Gail. Do I have
I'll
a
second.
Second by Freddie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This motion is carried. All right, we are going to begin the review of the applications in the order that they were submitted. Thank you for submitting them early, so we get to review them. So really, when you come up, keep it brief, and give us any information that's not already in there that would help clarify your request. So first up, Justin, do you want to go over finances first?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe we have somebody logging on online, not sure. And so if you'll jump down to the bottom of the spreadsheet there, you can see that we have remaining available funding of $50,114.22. Our total requested funds this evening was $138,283. The Chamber of Commerce has graciously moved their event coordinator request, or they're going to move their event coordinator request to the July meeting. And so that would bring our total requested amount down to about $103,000. So you guys, if you were to try an award, the total requested amount to you would be about $53,000 in the hole. We have obviously collected all of our lodgers' tax through 10 months of this fiscal year. And typically those last 2 months carry over into the next fiscal year. And so when we started this fiscal year, we had May and June's collections already projected forward for FY23. So I wouldn't recommend us trying to project out those last 2 months of this fiscal year, because that means we would have put 14 months worth of lodgers' tax collections into a 12-month period, and the next year we'd be left with a shortfall again. So there's obviously some tough decisions to be made this evening with the available funds that are in there. We have reverted back as much of the funds from the previous carryovers that we could, to upwards of around $57,000 of unspent funding, and so that has been put into the mix, as well as updated those 10 months worth of collections, of actual collections versus projected collections. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Board, any questions?
No.
Doom and gloom. But this board was made to make hard decisions. Look at us. All right, first up. Junior High Plains Rodeo Association.
Good evening, how are y'all doing?
Good.
Good. Thank y'all for having us back again, and we submit our application this time. We did normally in the later part of the season, we have come back for an additional 10,000. This year we did up to 15. We've had some expenses that cost. Our saddles and award prizes have gone up and things like that. We did host, or we are hosting. We've had 2 already, and we'll have a third rodeo in Clovis this year for our finals. It'll be in July. We've typically our finals is 3 to 4 days long, kind of just depends on how people come in. So, we have 2 days of rodeo, and then we have a day of games and so forth, fun stuff for the kids and adults together as well. We have been putting on all our saddles and our ward pieces and things as we have before, the Clovis logo and things like that, and advertising on some of our giveaways and things like that. So, we thank you for the previous help we've had, and we look forward to continuing to come back to Clovis and have our rodeos here.
Thank you. Board? Wanna start?
I just want to confirm the dates.
The dates, though, the dates will be, it's July 8th, 9th, and 10th, I believe is correct. So, I've been mixing up dates all day. Let me double check that with you. I've had fire truck deals and all kinds of stuff going on today. Yes, ma'am, that'll be 7th, 8th, and 9th. Everybody will start coming in on the 6th. I myself and some other ones that, I'm from the Lubbock area, so we usually come in the night before. Some people are closer and don't come in, drive in and then stay. So, but I'll finish off and go home on the 9th. So.
Gail, anything else?
The only other question would be related to anticipated overnight stays then? Do you have an idea of how many are coming from outside?
So the finals bring in a few more people than what we normally see at a regular rodeo with grandparents and, aunts, cousins and things like that. So especially for the kids that are getting close to possibly winning a saddle and getting pictures and things like that. Of course, we have, we'll have a band and things like that. We'll probably see anywhere from 200 to 300 people stay the night. So we have been averaging getting about 400 people. About 4 and a little over at some. It varies each rodeo, but 400 people into each town we come to. So,
Thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
Ready? Stephen?
No, I'm good.
I think that's it.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
So we're removing the event coordinator. Second one. All right, Clovis Chamber of Commerce, NMTD Cooperative Marketing Program.
Good afternoon, Rogers Tax Board. First of all, I want to thank you all for your investment in the Clovis Music Festival. It was a very successful week, and thanks to you, we were able to have the best music festival we've had since I've been there. So we're really pleased about it. So I wanted to mention that. So I do have before you the one proposal. So it's the New Mexico Department of Tourism Cooperative Marketing and Advertising Program, which the Chamber has participated in for years, and it used to be a one-to-one match, and then after COVID, it went to a 2-to-1 match. And so we have partners with us, like we did last year, the Chamber, the City of Clovis, and Curry County. And I know I have Christian here from the county, but online I have Rachel Forrester, and she's our remote worker that does public relations for us, and she is our person that does all of the grants relating to the tourism department. So Rachel, if you'll help me out here, I'll stand at the podium for questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Ernie. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys letting me join virtually. And like Ernie said, am I echoing? Sounds like it on my end.
No?
It's always
You're
loud,
good.
but
You were-
it's on the other side that you hear the echo.
Okay, sounds good. I'll keep going if it's good for you guys. So last month, the Chamber, the city, and the county submitted our joint application for the 2023-2024 New Mexico Co-op Marketing and Advertising Program. So Henry said we've been applying to this for years. This is our second year applying together between the Chamber, the county, and the city. So this partnership has allowed our to extend our marketing budget by selecting complementary events while also currently the power of the millions of New Mexico true branded items. This year, our three organizations have requested a total of $33,000, $370, sorry, I'll rephrase that. $33,373 in lodgers tax funding to cover our partner portion of that program. If awarded, this grant would provide us the opportunity to triple our tourism marketing impact with a 2-to-1 matching from the New Mexico Tourism Department. So that means the requested $30,000 in lodgers tax would secure more than $100,000 worth of tourism marketing and advertising. So including in our application is a full list of what would be included in this program. The city collected a video production package, a still photo add-on to continue building our library of high-quality marketing materials. We also included the full-page print ad for the New Mexico True Adventure Guide, which also includes a 1-year promotion of the guide on the NewMexicoMagazine.org. They plan to use these initiatives to promote Ned Park and the Clovis Queen Shooting Complex. The city selected two digital initiatives, the Bluecorn package and the sponsored content ads that would drive engagement for the Curry County Event Center. And then the chief selected the Sterling Silver package that would use a combination of social channels to drive strong engagement and video views, sponsored content ads that would drive users to engaging articles and content about Clovis, and then YouTube videos that would tell a compelling story about our destination. So, if granted, our combined selections work hand in hand while allowing us to optimize the lodging tax investment across several initiatives. Results-wise, our involvement with the program has a proven track record for success. So in fiscal year 2022, when the program was only a 1 match, our $24,000 earned more than 3.6 million impressions and 5,300 clicks. Additionally, that year's annual report showed that native ads were a successful tactic, but that running on channels would provide a more efficient and comprehensive plan. So that's what we're hoping to do with the Bluecorn package and the Sterling Silver package. We requested those this year because rather than just spending tourism marketing dollars on specific digital ads, these dynamic packages will allow us to leverage those funds with ads across several prominent digital channels. And we'd be able to work with the New Mexico Tourism Department's team of digital experts because they would make ongoing real-time optimizations by shifting those dollars towards the stronger performing initiatives. So unfortunately, we don't have the results for the fiscal year that's currently going because some of the initiatives are still happening. But I did provide estimated impressions for each of the requested initiatives in our lodgers tax application, and then I can share some preliminary metrics for our green chili package that shows that we already have 1.8 million digital impressions and 26,000 clicks for this one. That green chili package just started at the beginning of April and will run through the end of June. So for just over 1 month, that's really encouraging. And it also looks like YouTube and Facebook are performing the best out of the channels for that green chili package, and the Sterling Silver package requested next year prioritizes those channels. So I know that's a lot of information. I'll wrap it up. The reason we call for funding now is because we have to sign our grant agreement for that full fiscal year 2024 program by June. So please know that each of our organizations do these intentional selections based on our joint tourism priorities. So just to reiterate, that investment of $33,373 will secure more than $100,000 in tourism marketing for our community. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Rachel. Board, questions?
Yes. So I see here that you guys are now joined with the city and the county, and so that's increased the funding request. Aside from the three of you joining together, has it increased the overall advertising we're doing? And what would you guys do if we weren't able to fully fund? Like, how would it affect this?
So I can definitely answer the first portion of that with the fact that this is only the second year that we have joined with the city and the county, and our request this year is actually less than it was last year. So we picked less overall initiatives than we did last year, because we remember that it was, I think, requested to be less than, I think it was around $40,000 last year. And then, Ernie, can I pass it over to you as far as the funding if we're not awarded?
Yes, and so I think it breaks down approximately that there'd be $13,000 for the chamber, $10,000 for the city of Clovis, and approximately $10,000 for Curry County. So we would have to ask all three separate entities. And so for the chamber, I mean, that was one of the reasons why we didn't want to wait until next meeting to ask, because I mean, it'd be $13,000 that I would be saying that we could do without it being budgeted or approved by the board. So I don't know how to answer that for the chamber, and I don't know if, Christian, what would you say for the county?
Good morning, or good afternoon. I almost said good morning. I've been working from home for the past 12 weeks, so my mind is completely in a different place. But for the county, we would just have to speak with our commission and ask them for the $10,000 to fund our portion of the match.
Is it three separate ads though? One for the chamber, one for the city, one for the county? Okay, it is.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, and so how that breaks down to, and so the city of Clovis, for example, just $10,223, and what we're looking at is to be a part of the New Mexico True Adventure Guide full-page ad, which would help promote Ned Houck Park and then our Clovis Wing Shooting Complex and the archery range. And then we were looking at some video production package that would go towards Ned Houck Park and the shooting range, trying to obviously increase the interest in those facilities. And then we had some still photos on there. Curry County, under their blue corn package, really is focusing around everything that's going on out at the Curry County Events Center, and then some sponsored content ads that would be hosted on newmexico.org. And then the Chamber of Commerce, through their Sterling Silver package, would just be general tourism to our area.
Okay. So if we were to approve a lesser amount, would you just do that equal split between the three?
I'm
Arm
assuming,
wrestle over it?
yeah, I'm guessing the city of Clovis would win, but I'm joking. So I guess, and Rachel maybe answer, but there's those different packages. We may have to go back and look at what we actually, and I think we did this last year, said, okay, if we're awarded a lesser amount, we'd have to scale back the scope of services that we're requesting.
Okay. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Rachel?
I'm good unless someone else has more questions. I appreciate you guys.
Any questions for us?
I think that was it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, next up, Clovis Main Street, Small Towns, Big Fun.
Good evening, Chairman and board members. Thank you for having us. So one of the things that we've talked about with you guys is different outside-the-box ideas on how we can actually target bigger market. And so in doing that, I went and discussed with some of our different communities, Main Street communities across the southeastern New Mexico, and decided to work together to market our events together. So that way then we're pulling together some more funding to spread that over all of our communities. So each community would be marketing every community's signature events that they have. So this is a pilot project, so this is something new. We haven't done this before, but we're really excited to try and see how marketing on a southeastern New Mexico broad spectrum through all of our Main Street districts would work. And what we've done is we've taken all of southeastern New Mexico, so that would be Carlsbad, Clovis, Lovington, Ruidoso, Roswell, and Artesia. And those are our main Main Street organizations that we have in this region. And we are, each one of our communities has a signature summer event. So we want to try to highlight those summer events so we can try to encourage people from Carlsbad to travel to Clovis, people from Ruidoso to travel to Clovis, people from Clovis to travel to Ruidoso. So trying to encourage people in our region to go out and explore what all our region has to offer. And so in doing that, we decided let's focus on a time of year when each community has a signature event. So this one, we're hoping to do it twice a year moving forward. So if this works and shows to be an exciting adventure for us, we'll be doing summer and Christmas because a lot of communities have holiday events as well too, so signature holiday events. So this one, by doing this, we were actually able to utilize New Mexico Main Street's marketing organization, since we get free services through their marketing. They were able to use graphic designers for free for us to put all of this together and design this advertisement that would then go in front of all of those communities. So some of the marketing would be table tents, social media campaigns, posters, and magazine and newspaper articles, radio commercials. Depending on what budget each community gets, we'll be able to broader market those resources. And by doing that, we're also gaining following from each one of our communities. So if Carlsbad is putting it on their Facebook, all of their followers are also seeing our event on their Facebook as well too. So it helps kind of spread the word about what we've got going on in the Southwest region. So in doing this, we would also hit in Clovis area, we would also hit Portales and Tucumcari, Grady, and try to target those regions. And one of, the things, we do have a couple of events that overlap dates, but they don't overlap target market. So if you've got something like Smokin' on the Plaza going on in Lovington, and we've got Dragging Maine on the same weekend, those are two totally different target markets. You're talking barbecue people and car people. And they both have a following, so it's really important to try to capture that and try to get people out both Friday and Saturday and Sunday when they're out and exploring, to go to these different communities and enjoy these different events. So it's a new project for us. We thought that it would be something that's a little bit a better idea for broader marketing. And I saw that you guys have a big budget or a big ask this meeting. So I could do some of this marketing on a little bit smaller. I know we're already a pretty small ask at $2,500. But I think I could reduce some of those expenses, and if you guys would be interested in, helping to support us around the $1,700 mark to $2,000, I think we could make that work. This is the first year that we're doing this, so we're excited for anything that we can use towards this event and this activity, and see how it goes.
Lisa, thank you.
Yes, I'll stand for any questions.
Board, Gail?
Yes. So is the idea that each of these other communities will be doing the same thing? They'll be getting funding and they'll be promoting and doing all of the same stuff?
Yes, absolutely. And so some of the communities have already gone and talked to their lodgers tax or to their city or county, whoever funds their marketing campaigns, and some of them have already started. So we do have some marketing already kicked off with it, and so each one of us will have a separate budget. And so our budget, we will put on Clovis, paid for in part by the city of Clovis, lodgers tax. So we have left room on all of the marketing to include that as well. So that way then we're continuing to make sure, and city of Clovis is listed as a partner on all of these, on all the brochures as well too. But yes, each one of us will have a separate budget, and we'll bring that together to be able to utilize that larger budget in marketing throughout all the communities.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Board, anything? Lisa, I didn't have anything. Thanks for including the ads. Those are nice.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, True Roping Productions.
Hello, good afternoon. Okay, I'm back again, 12 years. Mr. Juan at year 10. I said, I won't be back. This is year 10. We're done. We're going to have the grand finale. He said, if it's that big, you'll be back. And so now we're at 12 years, 14 years total. We create a need for an overnight stay. We are truly an event for lodgers tax because we have a 3-day event with the biggest and best prizes. We bring people from all around. This past year, we also provided, which isn't included in anything that is shown on our application, a concert and a dance at the event center to entice our patrons and our participants to stay more than just the 2 nights. So that's on our Facebook page. If you go to True Roping Productions Clovis, On our Facebook page, we have the dance, the photos from that night, things like that. We anticipate over 2,000 people. That increases almost every year because you can have on-site entries. We do a pre-entry, a call-in date on June 19th. So I've been struggling with trying to figure out how to see how many people are coming, how many people are coming from out of town. So this time when they called in, I took the, whenever they call and pay in with their credit cards, where they're paying from. And so 90% of everybody who's coming in is coming from out of town. We did not include anybody within 50 miles, a 50-mile radius, so Muleshoe, Portales, even within Clovis, we did not include any of those people within our total numbers. Our call-ins verify at least 700 teams prior to the event. That's one of our marketing. 700 teams will come in for the truck. They know that at least they're coming, and they'll be able to rope for our King Ranch truck. This type of event seems similar to any of the other team roping events, but we have team ropers coming from Florida, Oklahoma. They're from all around to come to this event. So we put it on their calendar. It's part of their market, and they come specifically for this event. I'm actually trying to figure out how to get on the signage where all of the music festival and everything is, because I truly believe we're just as big as some of these events. We create a positive financial impact for the city of Clovis by also having our host hotels, our host places that we want to eat. We provide all of that for our patrons, so when they come in, they know where to go, they have a map, they know how to get there, for dining and lodging. The amount for the event is over $250,000 plus. There's no way to even calculate, because like I said, the night we did the concert, and then we provided hot dogs from Wiener Schnitzel, and we started bringing in food. We don't calculate that. We're trying to keep and entice our patrons to stay. So some of those things aren't even included into the budget. I know I'm asking for a $10,000 increase. This is only due to cost of goods. If that wasn't available, I totally understand. We come in at the very last minute and have a big ask from you guys. The sources for our funding are from the producer himself. We only have a $2,000 sponsor from Coors. And then everything else is paid for by the entries that come in. All advertising is paid from lodger's tax, and then some. I know Leanne can verify. She'll say, this is more than what you budgeted. I'm like, I know it's more, but it's within that item, so we have to send it anyways. So this year, the one thing I plan to do different is create a QR code to check in at restaurants and hotels. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm just going to try something new, because I want to show and prove that we are the ones staying in these places. I know I will sit there and beg with some of the hotel managers, please, I know that these rooms are reserved, but if they cancel last minute, we want in. And I know our people are staying at these hotels, and I want to show that not everybody has living quarters and is staying at the event. They may keep their horses at the event center, but not everybody has a full living quarters to stay at this event. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Kim. Board questions? Gil?
No, I like your questions.
I'm so inquisitive. So one of the questions I have is, if you were to compare your anticipated response or attendance to the 2023
Yes.
compared to 2020, what difference are we looking at in attendance and participants?
So I kept it the same at 2,000, and because, like I said, that's the entries. The teams are over 300, make about 800 teams, give or take. So we know that a team is the two people plus their families and then some. So there's no way to calculate who they're going to come with or anything like that. But at least 1,000 people are coming, because we also do not put in our form anywhere the workers that come that bring the cattle, anybody that comes to help, anything like that. The person who gives the hats away. He comes from out of town, he sets up a booth there, and so Davis and Son is there. Their family comes and stays, and so we don't calculate those either. And so it's just, I hate to say a solid number, so I keep it at 2,000 because it has increased. So 2,000 plus families, workers.
Okay, so comparison-wise, where would you estimate?
We've increased
many
about
more?
500 people and more teams each year. So it was 1,500 in the previous year, and then this past year was a little over 2,000.
Okay, so in 2020, you were about 1,500?
Yes, 2021, because 2020 we didn't have one. We had a rollover from 2020.
Oh, okay, so where it says 2020, it was 15,000, which carried over to 21. Okay, so 15,000 is what you.
Oh, you're talking about the budget. I thought you were talking about how many people.
No, yes, I
Oh,
am
okay.
comparing the two.
Okay,
So.
yes.
That's what I'm trying to draw a comparison, because the amount of money that was spent
Yes.
in 2021 is considerably less than what we're asking for in 2023. So I was trying to find the correlation.
Oh, yes.
As to the number of people coming in.
Yes,
Is
it's
it-
just more, it's more giveaways. Everybody who comes and attends, if they stay at a hotel, they come in and get a package. Everything City of Clovis, a hat, a t-shirt, their map, a restaurant list, things like that. So all of that is included now. Before, we didn't do any of that. Lodger's tax, the very first time we came in here, my dad came in here with a friend, and we honestly didn't know what it was about. And we were like, hey, and I think the very first initial ask was 8,000. And we're like, oh, we're advertising. We even did a wrap this year in the event center that has the City of Clovis on it, and that's not even part of our budget as well. So we're just trying to draw in people, more people, and advertise for City of Clovis in doing so. So everything that is asked is for the advertising purposes. And if there's more, the increase is more for what we can do for the people that come in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, only comment I have is, one of the things we've started looking at, because we don't have the funding we've had in the past, is that one of the things that the board has started to focus on is that as the more successful your event, the less lodger's tax should be needed.
Right.
Because it starts to, you should self-fund. So when we look at the ask, it's going up fast. So, and now that we don't have funds, it's not as easy. So I think that's where some of that question is, you're growing, so is the ask, but we want to see the opposite.
Yes.
The board wants to see the opposite, so, and I didn't have any other questions, so, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Last one, Yano Estacado Animal Advocacy.
Hi, everybody. So my name's Jessica. We are looking to host another fundraising festival to benefit the zoo in June. The last one that we did in December was extremely successful. It was our inaugural event, so our first one. We had 444 attendees and raised $6,000 for construction for a new home for Sooner, our tiger. I'm happy to report this is going to start soon. Damien is working to solidify plans for construction, but that's going to get going here soon. For this one, we are hoping to do a summer version of the holiday event. It'll be very similar to the one that we did in December. We'll have a daytime, family-friendly festival, which will have vendors, food trucks, crafts and face painting for the kids, a scavenger hunt, etc. We're going to try to get a live band as well. Otherwise, we'll just have music playing. And then the evening festival this time will be, instead of at the YRB like it was in December, this one will be at the zoo, and it'll be partnered with Enchantment Vineyard and a painting instructor. It'll be like a paint by numbers, wine in the wild thing for adults, and I'm waiting on word from the insurance company, but we're hoping to provide childcare at that as well, so it's not a barrier to participation. This time we will be benefiting either the monkeys or the caracal. We're still running the numbers to see which one is more feasible, but those are the two whose quality of life at the zoo could be more directly improved. So the goal with this one, or with this series of events that we're trying to get going, is that with the summer events being having more favorable weather in the evening, we'll be able to significantly reduce overhead for hosting the event and thereby direct almost all of the funds straight to whatever animal we end up benefiting, again, either the caracal or the monkey, and really try to make this cyclical, twice-a-year fundraising situation a well-oiled machine. So doing a successful summer event will definitely help us along with that. The only info I'd like to clarify that is not included on the application is that I took a poll in the military community, and we were originally planning to do this 4th of July weekend, but it looks like the majority of military families will be out of town. Well, we were talking about doing the Monday, thinking it's right before Smoke on the Water, they should be back, but I took a poll and by and large, families preferred June 10th. The only obstacle there is that Llano Estacado Animal Advocacy is a nonprofit that I'll be starting that should be up and running by the end of June. And so that said, if we do move forward with June 10th, which it looks like we will, there's a chance it'll either be another nonprofit or again, we'll have a waiver for me to run it as an individual again, as we did in December. And then another thing I'd like to clarify is that the funding requested is accounting for advertising to out-of-town areas, of course. If funding is tight, I am fine with moving forward, focusing on advertising to local areas, and then maybe focusing on, instead of on Roswell, Abilene, and Lubbock, just one of those. The only funding I have for the only gap in funding I have for advertising to the local area, including Portales, is $1,000 to $1,500, just depending on how many radio stations we do, et cetera, et cetera. And then the rest of the $2,100, actually with factoring in Portales, it'd be closer to $2,600 to $3,000, but the rest of that would be going to other areas. So just depending on if funding's tight, what areas you want to prioritize, that could absolutely reduce the funding requested. Yeah, I think that's all I got. Any questions?
Thanks, Jessica. And board?
Yes. You mentioned that the December was very successful. So when I'm assuming, are you looking for counting or identifying how many are actually coming in with overnight stays?
Yes, so we didn't, unfortunately, being our inaugural event last time, we just didn't establish a great way to track that last time. So I can't say with certainty what proportion of that was from out of town, although personally I suspect that it was by and large the local area, even though we did advertise to pretty much all of West Texas. And I mean, I acknowledge there's some benefit in the advertising alone, especially as we keep doing it. You know, it might start to draw people in over the next couple of years. This time, though, I really liked the QR code idea. So maybe something like that to track it a little better this time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Board, anybody else? Jessica, I just had a couple. Oh, what time for the event? I mean, so I guess, sorry to backtrack. The board, first question we ask is, does it generate tourism? Out-of-town stays, does it create tourism? So if the event, it's not an overnight, it's not 2-day, what time does the event occur? Do you know?
The daytime festival, the family-friendly portion, we're thinking 11 to 4, maybe 10 to 4, but 10 is probably kind of early. Probably 11 to 4 with the kids, families, and then the evening portion will be 5 to 8 with Enchantment.
And where would that event be held?
It'll all be at the zoo, so no overhead there. Which is a personal victory. That doesn't affect you guys, but.
The other, on your marketing and advertising plan and budget, you don't have any social media. And in talking to participants in the past, they overwhelmingly felt like their marketing dollars went further using social media. So, and you get engagement, you can, radio you can't track. And not just to point that out, most marketing is hard, right? Marketing is hard to track, but that was one gap I saw, and it's less expensive. And when we look at our budget, that's something that could be something that you should look at if we are.
So that's I hadn't thought about paying for social media advertising. For the last one, I just created a Facebook event personally and shared it. I mean, I had a bigger head start, but that we created a tremendous amount of advertising traction that way, and engagement that way. And then the ad that I placed with Eastern New Mexico, or the Clovis News Journal, the fee that I paid, so we did a front page banner, and then we also did an online banner, which was shared via their social media. So, but I could absolutely do more direct social media, pay for more direct social media advertising.
That was all I had, board. We good? I'm good. Jessica, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that was the final application. If you'd like to stick around, it is a public meeting. Enjoy the discussion. Yeah.
Or not.
Or not. Anyone need to take a break?
No.
We're good? All right, let's go. Juan, you had mentioned, looking at,
I mean, we have big requests. I think we should start with the little ones and get them out of the way
it's a good idea.
and work our way from there.
So looking at the smaller requests and then moving forward, let's just start with, do you want to start with the sixth one?
Yeah.
The Anawa Staccato Animal that Jessica just did. So my concern is generating overnight stays, generating tourism.
Especially when we have such a tight budget, I think we should be focused on those that are more likely to show the overnight stays.
Thoughts?
I agree.
So do we feel like it qualifies at all?
I think it could qualify. I mean, maybe if she put the evening to like 69 or something a little bit later.
Yeah.
Then maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the question still is, how many are they really drawing in from a far enough area that would require an overnight stay?
That's true too. I don't know.
My only thought was, do you put 500 at it and see if there's anything, put some money toward, to me, I don't know if radio, like in this case,
I think you're right on
just
radio.
a couple $100 to social media and see if you can create anybody. I also feel like, ending at 8, alcohol being involved could create some overnight stays.
If they came in from out of town.
If they came in from out of town. But is Portales, when we start looking at who's going to come in for a wine in the wild, it's hard for me to say that someone will come in from far enough away to stay overnight.
Rather than driving home.
Rather than driving home, so. So I think that helps me say that I don't know if it qualifies.
What, compared to what we're
Yeah.
presented with this evening, yes.
Correct.
Well, if we're going to start changing the criteria of how we fund some of these requests, then, yeah, you're not going to be funding too many, including the Main Street. How we know who brings what. Okay, so based on that, I mean, you can't really deny somebody's request. You can put a limit to it, but not deny, because we really don't know per se how many people are coming in, spending dollars, and maybe spending the night.
No.
So the whole criteria is bringing people into the community, or is it just generating room nights? And it's a tough one, and it's a really thin line that we need to really talk about and understand that we
Actually-
cannot deny somebody's request because they're not bringing 20 people to spend the night. We don't know that. So,
Actually, it's a very good point, because the first question is, does it generate tourism? And that doesn't mean overnight stays. Overnight stays are nice, but someone coming in from Lubbock and not staying the night still generates tourism.
Right, if we're getting those in.
Or Portales, and maybe that's that line, but
we touched on that years ago. I've been on this for many, many years, and we always talk about that. But again, promoting Clovis is what we're supposed to be.
well, I thought it was, the
Well,
first
it
question
is,
was,
it is,
does it
it
generate
is.
tourism?
Yeah.
If we can say yes, it can
Yes.
qualify.
Yeah.
But if we say no, we can deny
No.
someone's.
I mean, these people are trying to do something constructive for the community, and at the same time trying to bring people in. How good is the event is the question. On generating room nights, that's the bigger question.
Is
So,
generating room nights is more important than creating
no,
tourism?
what I'm saying is, you put the question there as to, is this bringing people
yeah,
to
we
spend
did.
the night?
Yeah, we did.
But again, if it's gonna bring people, that means it's tourism. You're doing something to try to bring people into the community, then that in itself is,
But the job of the board is to ask the question, is it viable? Is it a viable request?
to me,
Well,
it
and
is.
to understand
Anybody.
it, just to know how much money we might be willing to
Right.
put toward it compared to something that we know
Right.
is guaranteed room nights.
Right.
So
Or
I think they're
guaranteed.
questions, and it's just questions we need to ask in order to determine how much money should we put forth that.
Exactly. But to deny something for lack of room nights that we still don't know if it's gonna happen, I don't think is
No, and
valid.
That's why we ask the other questions, though,
well-
probing about previous events.
But I agree. It's not about room nights. The first question is, does it generate tourism? And if we can say yes to this, then we can fund it. And then we look at the other parts. Is it positive? Is it a positive influence on the community? Does it generate room nights? Is there a good, multi-day event? But the first question, I think, does allow us to say, we approve or, it qualifies or doesn't. And I do think it could, from that perspective, and good point, it does qualify, I think, for generating tourism.
Yeah.
Now, how viable is it to generate all the rest of, positive influence on the community? I think it does. Is it gonna generate room nights? Probably not. But again, there could be,
I still think on the, and this is for you, Jessica, if we can try a little harder to ask the question, where you from, what the plan is, maybe, get a little more information from the attendees as to whether they're gonna spend the night or not, where they from. That way you have a better idea as to, how helpful is this?
Something that was put on my radar after the last one is that there's apparently an option on Eventbrite to ask those questions when they purchase a ticket. The thing is, at least in the local community, most people,
Yeah. We got people at home.
Our friends on
watching.
Facebook want to see this.
Sorry, guys. So, something that came to my attention after the last one was that there is apparently an option to ask the question for people who purchase tickets in advance via Eventbrite. Where are you from? Where are you staying? Et cetera, et cetera. And granted, while the people who, it's pretty well known that people in this community don't typically buy on Eventbrite. They typically buy at the door. I don't know the extent to which that applies to out-of-towners. I imagine it wouldn't apply quite as much, but, so I don't know if we'd capture all the data that way. But that would certainly be one thing, and again, the QR code option, I really like that idea too. Yeah. Also, something that was brought up, one more thing was, like offering deals for certain hotels, like offering incentives if you stay at the Holiday Inn or et cetera, et cetera.
We have other hotels, why they always bring Holiday
Hi, just from our ticketed event history, we just realized that now Eventbrite, as of 2022, is including demographics on their reports. So you can go in on your report, there's a report button, and you don't have to specifically try to get everybody to go in and fill out the information of where they're coming from or how far of a distance they're coming from. It actually already does that based on the person's address, credit card, and their IP address on their computer. So it automatically tells you where your demographic is from, and it'll give you a map and show you where everybody's buying their tickets from and where they're coming from. So it's not 100% accurate because some people do have out-of-town cell phone numbers, and they have credit cards that are, linked to an address that maybe their billing address is out of town and maybe it's not.
IP address
And
is
their
nice,
IP
though.
addresses as well too, though. So it does give you quite a good resource to look at. It's better than what we've had. And then the QR codes we've used at some of our events as well too. However, it does limit how many QR code responses you're allowed to have too. So it gives you an idea. So it's helpful to have it there. And then you can kind of say, well, based off of 100 responses, and we had 500 attendees, we could say that, out of that 100, if we had 7% that were from out of town, you could multiply that by your 500, for your 500. It gives you some options. It's just something that we've learned after a lot of Gail's questions and, being able to try to provide that feedback. So there are some new technology out there that's helping us do it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you,
Thanks for sharing that.
thank you.
Yeah, I think with my thought, and I hope the IP address clarifies it, but with the military, just the number of, you're not going to change your area code and your cell phone and your billing address. Like most of that, you're just going to
They're
keep
still
rolling
from
with the punches.
Florida.
Yeah. But if the IP address links to here, or even the question, do you live in Clovis? And if
Yeah.
if it's at the event, selling, a simple question of do you live in Clovis?
Yeah.
I don't think that's totally intrusive these days. Just to try to get that info.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
Thanks, Jessica.
thanks.
So thoughts? I do feel like from Juan's point, and I do feel like it has the ability to generate tourism. Whether it ticks all the boxes after that, I do feel like it's a positive part of from the community.
I agree, it's a positive thing for the community, and it sounds like a great fun event.
Asking 2,400, is it, and I also feel like, if we're looking at the viability of the marketing and plan, I don't feel like if social media to me
Is the most.
you're gonna get the most bang for your buck.
$400 could take you a long way on social media.
And that was my thought, was 500 to fund it. But again,
I would
Board.
support it.
ready, thoughts?
Yeah. No, that's support than 500.
Okay. So 500. Clovis Main Street, number 4. My initial thought was, it was nice to see a small ask for something that has a large, it's out-of-town marketing, a huge part, a part of the state that I feel like is in an area. It's not Silver City, it's not a 6-hour drive. It's a couple-hour drive for our biggest event. My only thought is we're starting to fund Main Street funding Dragon Main, and Dragon Main funding Dragon Main, and is this an ask that should come out of Dragon Main's budget? Yeah, of course.
So, thank you. Yes, and I agree that I think that's one of the things that we are hoping to do next year, because this was a pilot project. We started this after Dragging Main came early in the year and made their request, and they've got their budget already allocated, and Jean and I have met on this and talked about it, and they are already over 6,000 in their budget, so they wouldn't be able to fund this year. And we thought with a small ask, we might see a big impact with a small ask. So we wanted to try it and get the pilot project moving this year, because we were able to get the marketing moving. We were able to get it all put together quicker than what we anticipated. So we wanted to try to get it out there this year and hit it as big as we can and impact it. And then next year, the request would go through the Dragging Main budget. So it wouldn't impact next year.
I also like that you decreased your ask while we were discussing it. So thank you, and thanks for clarifying. But I do feel like for the ask, it's a good reach, and I like the advertising, and I like that it hits places that we visit, like Carlsbad. I don't think I've ever been to Lovington, but maybe I'll go have some barbecue. Thoughts?
This one's a tough one.
It's another one that's hard to gauge.
Right.
What it's really gonna draw. And I know it's a pilot, and most of my concerns wouldn't be raised at all, but we're so limited on our budget, and so whatever we give to these that we're unsure of, we're taking away from those we're positive of. So I personally don't feel like we should fully fund that one. Not that it's not a good thing, Lisa, I love your ideas, they're smashing great ideas. But we're so stripped of funds right now that we have to look at where are we getting the bang for our lodger's tax buck.
Freddie, thoughts?
A question for staff. Is every hotel participating on their taxes? They're not behind?
A majority of them are. I mean, that's not something.
They may be a month
Behind, yeah.
Okay.
My thing is a new event, so that's, that's what we do.
A new marketing option?
You know?
It's not an
Old
event,
event.
but, yeah.
It's an existing event, just a different marketing option to get people in.
Lisa, if you don't mind me asking one more question. So I know that you can only manage or control how your marketing materials are distributed. Have you guys talked about how theirs are going to be distributed and how are yours going to be distributed?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually meet twice a month. And so every other week we're meeting as a group. All of our communities plus the New Mexico Main Street Marketing Department also meets with us. So because it's a bigger project than just one community, it's more of a regional state project. So all of us meet every other week and we discuss what we're doing, what our asks are, where we're spending our money. So I already know Carlsbad's already gone forward with some of their marketing as well. They've put into social media. Lovington's already started their social media campaign. Carlsbad already started print marketing, and they're looking at doing newspaper article as well too, or newspaper ads. And then I know Roswell has not gone. I believe they go before their lodger's tax this week as well too, so they have not gotten their approval yet. But we're all putting in efforts, and so social media will be a big one for all of us because social media will hit all of our followings. So that is one of the things that we wanted to push was a social media front. We wanted to do table tents in all of the restaurants that we have in our downtown districts. So that way then we know we have partnerships, relationships with those businesses already, so we know that we can utilize those businesses for helping us market these events as well too.
but they're doing those same things, like the request you've made, they're doing, and they're already advertising
Yes.
for Clovis.
For some of them that have already gotten their approval, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, and Lisa, do you know how much funding that the other communities have requested?
Yes, they're asking between 1,500 and 3,500. So
Thank
that's why we put ours right in the middle.
Do you know what they've received?
I know that Carlsbad, she had said that she's, I think, around 2,000. Lovington, they were able to pull from 2 different spots, so they have a little bit more. However, next year, we're also looking at using New Mexico Tourism as a grant to do this with. So New Mexico Tourism does an event grant that we can utilize as long as we have some funding for it. We're able to get matching, so it's a 2-to-1 match. Kind of like what Ernie and the Chamber utilize, but it's actually geared towards only events. So we put this together this year as a pilot, so that way then we can also use that as our approach for when we go to that grant next year, so we can ask our communities for less money, because we'll have state backing for it as well too, or the goal. But yes, each one of our communities is asking between 1,500 and 3,500.
One question, you printed your same pamphlets, posters, table tents. You talking about that just restaurants in Clovis or just
So
businesses in
Portales,
Clovis?
Clovis, Tucumcari, those would be our main target areas for our budget for print materials.
Okay.
Because we in Clovis market to our surrounding communities as well too. So, and we work well with the Tucumcari Main Street. Portales doesn't have a main street, but we do have a relationship with their restaurants that are on their square.
Thanks.
We're not as big as Carlsbad. Maybe we can,
My thought is, again, I like the fact that it's a little ask, I think, for a big reach, and I would say 1,500 to get this done 1 year, to commit to it, and then hopefully go forward, not having to do it, which is the goal of lodger's tax, is to jumpstart something, and then never see you again. No.
Mr. Chairman, I've been saying that for the chamber for the last 40 years, and it doesn't work, sir.
But again, it's a board, and
I would support 1,500.
ready?
Yep.
Stephen?
I agree.
1,500. Thank you, Lisa. Now we get to the good stuff.
So just for a quick recap, so we started this evening with about $50,114.22, and we are now sitting at $48,114.22.
48 grand. Okay, so let's start back at number 1. Junior Rodeo Association. The finals, possibility for 3 night stays, on a 3-day event for the final. Actually, do you guys want to move, sorry, to go to the co-op marketing and add, because we have some options there. That is
We're at the chamber.
number 3 for the chamber, where we've got the city, the county, and the chamber, city, county, and chamber involved.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
and just some quick thoughts. And so, and I'll, the city of Clovis, I mean, we're in there for 10,000, and this is for total funding request for this. And so, the county and the chamber, they don't have any matching dollars that are going into this. This is 100% lodgers tax dollars trying to fund this for these three entities. And so I think that it's good value for the city of Clovis for what we're trying to do with our parks, trying to get people coming out to our shooting range, et cetera. And so we just happen to be in preliminary budget season. And so if we needed to, the city of Clovis, put in money out of our regular budget and not utilize lodgers tax for this particular request, that is something that we could commit to. Chamber, I know that you guys are on here for $13,000. Would you guys be, and I don't have the county here available this evening, but would you guys be able to reduce that amount, still get the full $13,000 package, and out of budget, provide some just straight out of your budget? I'm putting you on the spot because we have limited funds.
And while they discuss, what was with the county when we asked the county?
I haven't spoken with the county regarding this, but I'm certainly happy to reach out to Lance. And if, say, we had to reduce this amount from the full 33,000, it potentially is an option. Either, like I said, either we reduce our request to the New Mexico True program, or we as individual entities say, yes, I'm willing to. If we divided that by a third, we're willing individually to
Pull it out of a
pull it out,
budget.
or you're going to have to reduce your request, whatever you want to. So you may go from the sterling silver package down to the blue corn package. I'm not sure what the value of that is, but.
All right, so as far as the budget goes, I would have to go to the board to get approval for anything like that. But I want to remind y'all of the 2-to-1 match. So the total amount package, we would get 3 times the value. So I would have to go to board on the remaining amount or whatever. So I would assume that whatever was awarded, then we would pick a package accordingly and kind of go from there. That's the best decision I can give you without board approval at this time.
And obviously having matching dollars is the perk. The problem is not having the dollar, it's like a car went on sale and it doesn't make me have any money in the, gosh, it happens every day, So it's where can we find dollars, and if it's the city budget and it's the county budget, then what's left over? Is it 13,000?
The city of Clovis is willing
Yeah.
to try and cover our
Right,
percentage here. but-
10.
Which is 10, yes.
And the
But
county-
I have no idea from the county.
I know, but what was the county, I thought.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, so the 33,373, the way that's broken
10,
down.
10, and 13?
Yes.
10, 10, and 13 is the breakdown. And when she was here and she came to the podium, she said that she would just have to go before the commission to request the funds if it wasn't
Can-
fully funded.
And that I didn't ask the question, could it be done in a timely manner to get this
I
approved?
believe that the application is due in June.
June 9th, I believe, is the day we have to have it turned in.
Chairperson, if I might just also make a comment about our True Roping Productions, like their ask is considerably higher than the last time without having a shown increase. So I feel we have room to maybe back off the ask a little bit, get a little bit closer to their last ask. That would give us a little bit more flexibility on funding some of these other requests. So even if, because the last funding was 15, even if we gave them 20, that would still allow us a little more breathing room and still give them more than what they had for their last event.
Yeah, well, I guess I was trying to get fine dollars from other sources like the city and the county, and then see what's remaining? And does it make, now we get a 1 to 10 match, ultimately, that the chamber's gonna get a 1 to 10 match, or this, like, versus the board getting a 3 to 1 match, or 2 to 1 match. Does that make sense? Our dollar's gonna go, go ahead, sorry.
Correct. No, I mean, that does make sense. So, if the city of Clovis was, basically, we're funding ourselves out of our general fund versus out of lodger's tax funding. And so, the city of Clovis is 100% put money into this, whether it's from our own funds or from lodger tax funds.
So do you want to discuss this one, or do you want to go back to, I was trying to figure out which way we should move with the math.
Right. Well, where do we feel we really, so I agree on the approach we're taking. But if we were to nail down the True Roping Productions, it would probably lead us into an easier conversation on the others. Sorry?
Can I speak on the increase?
Yeah.
So as I was sitting down, remembering everything, the increase came because the trophy that we give away, the 2023 F-350 4x4 King Ranch, we give that away. We outright pay for it and give it away. So the initial argument to increase the portion of the truck being paid for and the trailers, because those were trophies essentially, because the advertising has to be on the trophy or the trucks and the trailers for a year. So that's where the bigger increase came, is because a portion of the vehicle is being paid for, because it's essentially a trophy that we're giving away, we outright pay for. And so that's why the increase was so big, but last year's wasn't 15, it was 40. We were approved for 40.
Gotcha. Right, so the jump was from 20,
To 40 to 50.
20,
Yes,
from 15 to 40.
yes, yes.
Okay. But did we see a jump? in
Yes,
the-
and just as all of the other big events, the Main Street, or Dragging Main, and all of the music festival, when we're at an increase, I am just giving better and bigger prizes. That's what, and giveaways essentially. So before, when you entered a hotel room, there was nothing, you just went into the hotel room. Now you come into your room, you have a t-shirt, City of Clovis. You come in, you have all the advertising, the boards, things like that. Where do we eat? The map, just essentially information about Clovis. So at the very beginning, we didn't advertise in those areas, not even on social media. Now we started Facebook, Instagram, all of these different types of social media outlets, which, like I said, those aren't even included in a portion of everything here. I know team roping is not one of those things, and I wouldn't speak for the High Plains. I mean, we had 2 truck winners that didn't even have a license. And so we're keeping, we're bringing that positive vibe to our community, and we can show that. With credit card numbers, even if we took out, like I said, within 50-mile radius, we are still bringing in 90%. What I'm trying to do now is prove that they're spending money in Clovis. Prove with the QR codes. We're going to eat at these restaurants on Mabry. We're going not even towards Mabry, down all the way now to, Texas Roadhouse and Blake's and all those places down there. We actually send some of our workers and people down to those hotels, because that's a far away to the event center with truck, trailer, all of those things. So the increase was just for the portion of the trophies being paid for, which is the truck and the 2 trailers. And not including, we have the 5 saddles, the hats, those are just for the advertising that is added to them.
Right, and am I understanding correctly, you've paid for those things every year?
Yes,
It's just that
yes.
you've never included it in your ask in the previous years?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you want to stick on this one? Do you want to move back?
I say we stick with True Roping.
You want to go back to True Roping?
Or do we go back, or we just stay at this one?
I don't know, we got to make decisions.
Yes, we do.
For New Mexico True Marketing, if we can eliminate 10 for the city and eliminate 10 for the county and assume that that money will come from them, the remaining is 13,000 roughly. Is this have does the board look at 13,000 and go, that is a value? Or do we say 10,000 is value, is what we feel like it's gonna, the value add that the board wants to put toward it? Or is it 8,000, or is it 5,000, or?
Well, again, when we're looking at the different events, the two that are gonna be heavier hitters for our lodgers tax revenues is going to be the junior rodeo and the team roping. And unfortunately, we just are short of funds. So you said we were at about 48,
Yeah.
but we still have an ask of 103. So somebody's gonna have to give up.
Right.
Well, I think they're probably all gonna have to give up.
Yeah.
So how much do we want them to give up?
Well, so we've taken a $33,000 request and made it now 13 of that 13.
Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're
That's what I
recommending
would,
13.
that's what I mean, we can't fund them all.
Right?
If we can push those dollars somewhere else, I would rather do that. I don't think those, and then we can look at the others, but,
And again, it's not like these events can't go forward and still be very, very successful. They may just have to be a little more resourceful in how those funds are used or where they might come from. So if we do the 13,000, sorry, I'm gonna start bringing a calculator.
That leaves you with 35,000.
Okay, so 35,000. Does it?
48 minus 13.
Thank you. See, that's why I need either a Justin or a calculator. Okay, so if we have 35,000 left, and we still have a 65,000 request, so.
so is 13 the number? Is 10 the number?
Well, they've already given up 20, but
Well, they haven't, they're gonna get it.
from their own sources, yes.
That's, yeah. Hi, Ernie.
So Marlene and I are there trying to help you out here.
Oh, you guys just finished your,
So, again, like everybody, we can't commit here tonight because of board approval, but, and for the whole thing with the three of us having this contract, it's all a timing issue. And so, I mean, we can still submit something, and it doesn't matter to the Department of Tourism where the money comes from. I mean, you just have to be able to pay for it. So the chamber's willing to go from the sterling silver package to the, what is it? Blue corn. We'll reduce ours. And so then, I can't speak for the county. She had to go pick up her daughter. But if the county were here, I would say they made a killing off the Clovis Music Festival this year in concessions that they didn't budget for. And so I don't think it'll be a problem for the county. I mean, I'm not speaking for them, but they did really well in concessions at the Clovis Music Festival. So we're willing to reduce from sterling silver to blue corn. So then that would take us down to what?
6650.
Yeah, 6650. And so then, if this, the city and the county can still, be in for what they're in, and they can just decide if they can pay for it with other money. But that's what we would be willing to do with that board approval.
Thanks, Ernie.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
I'll let Lance know that he made a killing.
Yeah, he knows it. He's the one that was bragging about it, remember? And I think it's yeah. So, anyway, it's a tough position to be in. So while I have the mic, I just want to say to Lisa, I love the regional marketing plan for promoting the Main Street. I mean, I know when you were up here, Marley said, well, we'll get on it for Clovis Music Festival and use some of our budget as well as Dragon Main for the future. Yeah, and so we're excited about that. And then we have worked with Jessica. She's part of the branding committee that we have. And when she did the thing in December, I was just really proud of how she pulled it out. And so we'll be willing to support her as well. And then I want to remind everybody, True Roping and everybody, that the chamber does get funding from Lodgers Tax for the goodie bags, the profile, all of the swag, and we have them for all the events. So I just want to remind everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. So let's remember this meeting and how everybody's working together in the future.
Kumbaya.
Yeah. Board 6650?
Just wait a minute.
Freddie?
Yeah.
I agree.
6650? Thank you again.
Let me check with my calculator now. Justin?
$41,464.22.
So what if we did 10 for the junior rodeo and the balance to the roping? I'll still put 31,462 for the roping.
How much?
Well, if we take, of the 41,462, if we take 10 for the junior rodeo, that would leave us 31,462, which is still a healthy amount of money for what is likely to be our biggest producer of bringing people in. Bringing in that tourism.
Freddie?
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool, all right. 10,000 to High Plains Rodeo, Junior High Plains Rodeo. 31 to True Roping.
Just. Yeah. So you wanted that balance? 31,
good.
464, 12, or do you want to, what do you want? Do you want to call it 31,000?
Yeah, 31,000.
Okay.
Easy numbers for Leanne. Yeah, and yeah. Gail, I had it rolling in my head. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the recommendations?
I'll make that motion.
First motion by Freddie,
I'll second.
second by Gail. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're not done yet. For the good of the order, so before we end the meeting, we're going to chat about, what are we chatting about? Oh, well, does anybody have
roommates.
anything to come up with? Oh, we are going to have a good meeting.
I just thought of something. So Kim Tipton is in Las Cruces at the New Mexico Department of Tourism and Hospitality Conference, which I was supposed to be at too. But anyway, there was a whole breakout session there by the director of the Hospitality Association, Kathy Kummel, and I think it would really help you guys. And I don't want to assume that you want the help, but the whole session was on lodger's tax and how they're trying to get everybody in the state and all the municipalities to go by the same standards and stuff. And so there's a handbook that's been updated. I have a copy of it, and I'd like to send it to you all and to the city, just so it helps you know exactly what everybody else is doing. And I just wanted to mention that without, I want you to, like, tomorrow get an email from me thinking, well, what is she thinking? But it's just that it was part of a session today, and Kim's at, and so I'm on that board, and I'd love to share it with you all in administration, all of us actually.
Yeah, I'll delete it as soon as it comes in. Just, Ernie, thank you. No, that's very thoughtful.
Ernie, I'll wait a little while before I delete it. No, I think that would be really good information to have. And each community has its own
Has the ability to
adjust and
Yeah.
do all of that, so we don't necessarily have to be exactly the same. But wouldn't it be nice if we were a little bit more?
yeah, I mean, I think no need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
I mean, if we got good standards.
State.
We go by state standards.
But we can go
Yeah.
within them. We
It's
get to
it's
tweak.
still a gray area, so yeah, we never have the, do this.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we are going to, where's my, Leanne, or, what are we chatting about?
Discussion of recommendation
Oh,
Regarding room nights for events.
Yeah, so this was to add,
This was, so what we're going to discuss is part of our application process, and I know so many times it comes up, and you guys have already started discussing it this evening, the impact of room nights versus the impact, I guess, of tourism. And so we generate more we all know, we generate more lodgers tax by people staying the night in our hotels. And so did we want to discuss trying to actually have room night criteria within the lodgers tax? Should that weight it differently, et cetera? And so we just really wanted to have an open discussion regarding that, because it does come up. All right, does this create room nights? It happened this evening, so it's just consideration for you guys.
Yeah, I just hate to say no to somebody that is trying real hard to bring people into the community, like Jessica or Main Street. We have to be very careful on that. The thing that I like is that the willingness of somebody trying to do something for the community. And if it falls within the guidelines of the state, what is it that you need to be doing with the monies that we collect from lodging, then that's what we need to be looking at. It is a plus when you have somebody keeping an eye on room nights, who's spending the night. I mean, that's great. But again, if we didn't fund any of this stuff here, we wouldn't have any events in Clovis. Very simple.
When I think the thought was, it is something we consider as a positive for the applicant. So if they can prove the room nights, it helps us in the decision making. Just like, and this was off like when I first started, factors which will enter into the Lodgers Tax Board consideration. Number one was potential for substantial numbers of overnight visitors. The second was having a positive impact on the local economy as a whole, which when we talk about these things. So these could be questions that we add to the application that just help us. I think one was nonprofit. Is a percentage of the revenue going to nonprofit, which makes like the Lions Club's application, I think it means more I think it means more to the board. So adding those questions of things that mean something to the board to the application process, so we have more information, and it tells the people who, and and now you know what the board is looking for when it's on the application. For right now, we don't talk about. We simplified it, and we may have oversimplified it.
Well, this is the first time in a long time that we're really struggling for funding.
Yeah, we don't have money, yeah.
And you guys were very generous this year. Early.
Yeah.
Well, because we're so generous, more and more people come forward with these great ideas, but if we don't consider where the revenues are coming in to fund this, that's where we can get ourselves in trouble. We may be overfunding some events that are not bringing in those revenues. So I think we need that balance. I certainly love promoting these great ideas that bring in tourism, but we need to make sure that our funding is sustainable. And to do that, we have to have a high consideration, I believe, of the room night stays. Not to say they have to produce them, but when we're so short funded, it certainly needs to be a heavy consideration.
I have one question, and I know I might be far-fetched from this, but we're all about room stays, stuff like that. Where does the advertising fall into that?
Well, that's an eligible.
All the pamphlets, all the websites, and all this stuff. Why aren't we figuring out where's that at?
Yeah,
Because we're doing, True Roping's showing nights, things, but we're doing advertising. So where are we cutting the line between all the advertising and the events?
That's where I think the advertising is the money spent to get them into the events
itself.
and spending the
But
night.
like this marketing event, this advertising thing here, what event is that promoting? Like, what's that bringing in?
Which thing are you talking about?
Like this, the chambers, New Mexico True. Yeah, what event are they promoting? What's it bringing in?
So it's not necessarily tied to an event. It's tied to tourism into our community to
Okay.
draw people in. But good point.
Where's
It's
it
more
drawing?
effective if it's pointing it to the zoo, the shooting range,
And it does. It does. I mean, we're not just advertising Clovis. We're advertising things in Clovis. And so, like Gail, you mentioned, it is the shooting range, the Norman and Vi Petty Studios. It's